Okay, here we have a new wing. It's the Mini Stinger, which is just a miniature version, obviously, of my Stinger wings. And it's a 22-inch wingspan kit, and it's designed for 1306 motors. Probably a 1407 might work pretty good. This is a fairly new one. But it's just designed to be a small, lightweight basher. It's something that can use a small 4-cell pack. I designed it around some packs like these Pyrodrone. Of course, there's several of them. This is a 700 milliamp 4-cell pack, which using my little Sparrow, my little 3-inch quad. So it's kind of designed around that. So it's going to come with cores. And the first thing we're going to do is we need to prepare the saddles to build it in. And the cores are going to come, rather large, depending on how I cut them off. And you're going to need to trim the front. You see how there's so much extra right here off of it, and then we're going to split it. So I've already done that on this one. And what we're looking for is we just need to trim these down. These are the wing saddles. Okay, trim them down, and then we're going to split it in half so we've got a bottom saddle. We only need one side because this is symmetrical airfoil. So once you make the one side, you can dispose of the rest of it unless you just want to keep the foam around for scrap. Then, very simply, all we're going to do is take a piece of, and obviously I've already done this one, wax paper, set it down, and this thing is going to be built pretty much entirely with CA glue because it's got to be kept light, and CA glue works just fine. So what we've done on this is a little piece of wax paper. Now, obviously I've already joined these. Is just CA, kicker always works handy on the other side, and on the wax paper, line them up real close, push together and glue it together until you make a foam base. Then, once the foam base is put together, and remember there is a center section and there's two panels, so all this goes together. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue all this together, and I'm not going to go through the details here, but we're just very simply going to do the same thing using CA glue. Take some wax paper and just put it right there in the middle, and then what we're going to do is we're going to glue the center section to one side, and then we're going to glue the other panel to the other side. So we'll do that. Be right back. Okay, now that we've got the cores glued together, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out the rear cutouts here for it. Now in your kit, you're going to find a piece of paper. Looks like that. What that is that's the cutouts. And the front is this top part, the narrow part there. And you need to just glue them onto the foam there. I use some 3M77 because I happen to have it around because I use it to spray the wings before I cover it. Any type of little contact cement, anything, you can glue it down. You can probably tape it on if you wanted to. But just glue it into place right there. Now it starts at about a 1/4 inch from the back of that because there's a 1/4 inch plywood firewall that goes in there. You just line the pieces up against there, just cut it out, and then glue them into place. Now is also a good time to cut out or to mark out where you're going to cut out the elevons. And these elevons are 1 1/4 inch wide, and it comes in 1 1/4 inch here. I just happen to have some scales that are 1 1/4 inch wide that I use. Kind of convenient because it makes it real easy just to line this up with the trailing edge, draw that, line it up with the tip, and draw that line, plus we'll cut it. So now we're just going to cut these out, and it's real simple. Make sure, one, you have to have a sharp knife, otherwise you'll tear the foam. An easy way to check the sharp knife is just take a piece of scrap foam and make sure that it slices in real easy. If it tears it or whatever, get you a sharper blade. Now, just in the wing saddles, we're just going to cut the center sections out first. And we want to cut those right along those lines, just at a 90 degree. We're cutting this piece out is what we're doing. There we go. Once we have it cut nice and smooth, You may have to run your knife up to cut the corners out. There we go. And that pops out that. That cuts out that side. Now, to do the aileron, we're going to cut this line first because this is actually going to be a wingtip. So we're going to cut this right up to our 1 1/4 inch line we marked there. We're going to make a 90-degree cut all the way through. You cover the elevons because we're going to be using these elevons. Now the next cut on the elevon, we have to cut, but we need to cut at an angle, angling back in towards the wing so the elevon has got something to pivot down into so we can get down elevon. So it's real simple. Remember, we're only cutting up to this line right here. Using our lines right there. And now on this cut here, you want to pivot this blade in about 45 degrees towards the inbound of the wing like that. And try to do this in one cut if you can, or close to it. It makes the cut a lot smoother. So about 45 degrees. Again, a sharp knife is imperative. Going to take it down that cut. And you probably almost always have to go up and finish these cuts here. And that cuts it out. We're going to get a little bit there. Careful not to pull on it because you don't want to tear the foam. Plus when this elevon is laminated, it's plenty strong. So what we have is our cutout facing inward. On the elevon, obviously, it's going to have that cut there too. So obviously that's not going to pivot like that. So we've got to cut the face of this elevon where it's flat. Very simply, take our straight edge, line it up to the very edge there, right along that line again. And put it from down the table. Now just cut this down at about a 90-degree angle and just cut that leading edge piece off. That way we've got room for the control horn to stick up through there. That way we've got this be hinged on the top, and we got down, and we got up. Now that you've done that, go cut out the other side. Remember, angle that cut inwards toward the end of the wing. Here I'm cutting the elevon out on the other side. Remember, it's an important cut. If you get this wrong, you're going to mess things up. We're going to start here, angling towards the inside of the wing, 45-degree angle. Only this time we're starting out there. And I'm trying to make this as one cut if possible. Clean up the cut. So you'll almost always have to run these the intersections up with a knife to clip off the very end. And it should pop out of there. Fall. I mean not pop out. It should fall out of there. Okay. Now that you've done that, same thing here on this one here. I'm going to cut the leading edge off. Line that up right to our mark again. There we go. And now we have both elevons. There we go. Now we got the basic plan form of the wing cut out. Next, we're going to put the spars in. I may not have been real clear on drawing out the elevon because I used my scale that was 1 1/4 inch wide. If you don't have one that's 1 1/4 inch wide, you want to draw this line 1 1/4 inches perpendicular to the trailing edge. And make your marks like that and cut it. On the wingtip, very simply would mark in 1 1/4 here, 1 1/4 here, and then make your cuts. Okay. Obviously, I had a 1 1/4 inch scale, so it made it really easy just to use this as a jig. But if you don't, just make sure that you're marking it off. It's perpendicular to the trailing edge, and then this is just 1 inch up on this part, 1 inch here. So it's got the same line as the wingtips. Before we install the spars, we're going to cut out the battery bay. The battery bay is cut out, obviously, the center section, but we just need to widen it a little bit. In this case, this battery here, I'm going to widen this to 2.5 inches, so I'm going to take a 1/4 inch out on each side of it. Now we're going to cut the battery bay all the way through because we're going to be installing a piece of coroplast here on the bottom. So we got a place for the battery shack and hook to, plus it add a little bit of a little bit of durability down there for landing and stuff. So all I did, and I took a piece of masking tape and laid it on each side so I can use a fine line Sharpie to draw these out. But we're just going to, again, take a sharp knife. Let's go ahead and cut. Using a sharp knife, we can go ahead and cut straight through and cut the floor of this out. Okay, and now that we've got the floor out of there, and now what we have to do is just widen this 1/4 of an inch. So just real simply, we're just going to take the knife and using the as a guide. Got a sound right there. This kit is really easy to build. It's designed to be easy to build. You want to make sure, and all this stuff, it's also designed to be light. Weight is obviously your enemy with these airplanes. It's easy to paint one of these up, a bigger airplane, and not be such a big deal, but you get these smaller ones like this, and every little bit matters. And we're trying to shoot for a weight of around 8 to 8.5 ounces, all up weight, because that'll keep our wing cube loading in around 10, which is good for general and sport aircraft. There we go. Now we got the bay cut out and the battery. And we'll have to do some little modifications lately because we're going to pull this around. But one reason we want to do this before we do the spars is because next we're going to be laying the spars out, and we'll make sure we got room to clear the battery bay, because we're going to put some 12-inch spars right here. We're going to run about 1/4 of an inch, and this is going to come down 1 inch. I'll also just go ahead and mark them. You can do that while we're at it. Take a little piece of tape. I don't need that much tape. And I'm marking on the end of the wing panel where it joins up with the center section. And this cut, well, not this cut, but this first mark is going to be 1 inch back from the nose. And you just kind of eyeball it. Come pretty close. Make this little mark right there. Next little mark right there. Yeah, back here. So let's get it there. I'm just going to put one side. And in the back here, we'll be bringing this back 1 1/4 inches. This is 1 inch from here to here. From here is going to be 1 inch, I'm sorry, 1 1/4 inches from the leading edge. Use tape, which I highly advise. Use fine line Sharpies. It doesn't make a messy airplane. And then what you might want to do is we're going to run, you can mark it, piece of tape in between those two points. See them? Okay, so you can see them. Or just mark those. Now, straight edge. We want this line enough. Sorry, I don't have anything here in front of me. I'm going to draw this line. This is going to be where the leading edge spar is going to go. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the leading edge spar and we're going to mount it here. The leading edge spar is only 12 inches long, and we're going to run it about 1/4 of an inch past the center section, and we're going to run it down about it's going to be 12 inches long. So this is where we're going to make our cut.